Most development groups, they are very smart when they're approaching a real estate professional and they're asking opinions on value. I have found that in many instances, they already know the answer. My name is Christa Huffstickler. Today in this masterclass, you will learn the art of specialization in real estate. I've been in the business for 23 years. I started as an on-site agent in a new development sales and marketing capacity. I was the agent that worked with builders on the front line. When you go into a condo high-rise or to a subdivision, I was the agent that was there guiding you and selling you whatever the product type that I was selling. I did that for about 10 years and worked every job that you can work. I really kind of moved my way through the ranks of that really specific type of real estate, learning each of the different jobs that fed into what that becomes holistically as a new development sales and marketing arena. For 22-year-old Christa, day one looked like an extremely inexperienced, fresh college graduate working on site and participating in meetings, being in way over my head. For me, a lot of the growth came out of people asking me questions that I didn't have the answers to. You have enough of those moments where you're caught off guard that, for me, I was never going to be caught off guard again. If you want to work in a new development sales environment, start in a frontline sales role, because it provides you with a point of reference that you will never achieve if you haven't experienced it. Every project that I have ever worked on, big or small, has its challenges. And so being on the front line and understanding the things that the builders or the developers are looking for day in and day out will carry with you forever. And having that element of exposure to those types of things does provide you an edge against your competitors. For me, the next level was identifying things that other people were doing, marketing, for example, and me recognizing, well, we could be doing this in a better way. Why don't we try it this way? Why don't we change the messaging to read this? Really thrusting myself into the marketing part of what that sales environment looked like was very valuable because it procured a greater call to action for a consumer base that was then coming into my subdivisions and selling for me. And then you naturally evolve into, okay, I've now run a couple of projects. Now I'm the sales manager of the project. Again, having that experience of having others manage me and seeing the things that they did right, the things that they could have done better, and then implementing those into the people that I was then managing proved to be a really productive experience. And then you organically evolve into business development. As you're managing first one project, and then two, and then maybe five, you're getting this really unique point of reference to the market that's giving them, I think, a real value that they're not going to get from somebody that hasn't had that experience. When you're working in a more commercial setting, it's more of a B2B than a B2C. It is numbers, quantifiable action and success points, and you have these very specific targets. A swing of a couple $100,000 is much more significant to an individual seller than it is an entity that's hitting certain thresholds for paying back debt or paying off investors. And so it's a very night and day experience operating and interfacing with those two very, very different sellers. No matter who your client is, doing your homework and knowing who your audience is invaluable. I do a lot of research before that first conversation so that I can speak to their legacy, their experience, pain points, where I can be the person that's helping that next experience be more painless. I speak to the successes and how I can amplify the success. Most development groups, they are very sophisticated. They are very smart. When they're approaching a real estate professional and they're asking opinions on value or how other projects are performing, I have found that in many instances, they already know the answer. They're coming to you for confirmation In a lot of instances, it's almost a test to see, do you really know the stuff that's going to facilitate success for them? So the starting point for me was really mastering market data, understanding absorption cycles, understanding what is it costing this developer to build this project, and what does their spread need to be for their profit margin, and what can I sell these for to an end user. You really have to be in the field, visiting other projects, connecting with people, talking to consumers, to be able to convey where you're going to be able to sell a product to an end user. I've had projects that I've worked on for 2 years or longer before we ever write our first contract. So I think that being able to run a full cycle from start to finish is extremely valuable. You have to be authentic. You have to take what you know and build out based on what you're an expert in and refine and build that. So if you are really passionate about commercial real estate and you love working with retail tenants, build out based on your passion, because you're going to want to continue to learn. You're going to want to continue to grow. I see people often that try to cast a really wide net. And I think it can be ultimately a counterproductive exercise because it's that muscle memory in the brain, whereas humans, we have to continuously see the same thing repetitively for it to really make an impact for us. And so I think casting a really wide net, you're touching somebody one time and then you're moving on to a really different area or location or target audience. You're not repetitively hitting that memory of somebody. When people talk about real estate, it's such a broad topic. People approach me and say, I want to be in real estate. I say, well, what does that mean exactly? Because specialization could be specific to commercial real estate. It could mean that you want to specialize in a particular geographic region. It can mean a lot of different things. Start with what you know best. Where are you geographically located? And that translates to a very organic approach because it's just a day-to-day experience that you're building off of. And you're nurturing those relationships and you're activating events that are engaging that core demographic that you're trying to turn from a neighbor into a client. I have seen extraordinary success for advisors in my shop that aspirationally want to move into other geographic areas, and they invest time in the community, building relationships in the community, volunteering in the community, and when an opportunity presents itself to go list a $3 million house, when they have never in their life listed a $3 million house, they're collaboratively engaging other advisors in our shop that have. And the synergies that are created that have stemmed out of that have exponentially increased on both sides. Ask for help. Partner yourself up with people that have done the things before. And what you'll find is that the collaboration that comes out of that benefits both and elevates both.